Have you noticed how AI is just, well, everywhere now?
Hmm.
In our phones, in business decisions. It's really woven itself into everything.
It really has. Almost overnight, it feels like.
And yeah, it brings amazing opportunities, but also, wow, some complex challenges, stuff we really need to get our heads around.
Yeah, certainly.
Big challenges. So that's our mission in this deep dive, right?
Yes.
To cut through all that noise.
Exactly.
We want to dig into the key insights, the best practices for actually managing AI.
Yeah.
We're drawing on some great expert sources here covering governance, security, understanding the risks, and, making sure it's deployed responsibly.
Right. And the sources we're using today, they're basically a deep set of questions and answers all about AI management.
Okay.
They give really clear reasons for the big decisions you have to make across the whole AI lifecycle.
Practical stuff, then.
Very practical, actionable insights. Stuff that covers the whole spectrum of challenges you see out there today. Think of it like a playbook for navigating AI.
Nice. So this is your shortcut, really, to getting properly informed.
Mm-hmm.
We're going deep, pulling out those key nuggets you need to handle AI confidently. Okay, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So, first things first, let's lay the groundwork. Responsible AI. Why are things like policies and having humans in the loop, why are they totally non-negotiable?
Yeah, you have to start there. Look, for any company, but especially in regulated areas like finance,
Yeah.
think fraud detection systems.
Okay.
The number one reason you need AI governance policies, it boils down to regulatory compliance. Simple as that almost.
Right. The rules.
Exactly. These places operate under super strict frameworks. They demand decision-making that's explainable, that's auditable.
If you don't have the paperwork.
Big trouble. Significant penalties. You need that documentation, those clear policies. It's not optional, it's a must-have.
Okay, so compliance is key. But it feels like there's more to it, ethically speaking. What about bias? AI models picking up biases, especially in sensitive stuff like hiring. How do companies deal with that?
Oh, that's a massive challenge.
Ah.
A really big one. So say you have an AI hiring model, and it starts rejecting way more candidates from one group than others.
Yeah, that's bad.
Very bad. The best way to handle that, to ensure compliance, is to conduct systematic bias detection and impact assessments. And crucially, you do this while training the AI.
So not after the fact.
Not after the fact. It's got to be proactive and ongoing, too. You're constantly evaluating to make sure the model isn't having these disparate impacts. It's about meeting legal duties. GDPR, the EU AI Act, EEOC rules here in the U.S. It's an ongoing job.
That makes total sense. Build it in, monitor it constantly, which leads naturally, I think, to human oversight. Why is that so critical? I mean, isn't the whole point of AI to automate?
It is. Automation's a goal, sure. But ensuring human oversight and validation is, well, it's absolutely vital.
Very vital.
For ethically sound decisions, mainly. And for catching potential biases or just plain errors before you let the system loose. Think about an AI for medical diagnosis. You wouldn't want a machine making huge life-or-death calls without a doctor, a human expert, validating it, right?
Absolutely not.
It's about accuracy, managing those unforeseen risks, and honestly, building trust. That human validation is key for trustworthiness.
That's a really important point. It's not just ticking a compliance box, it's fundamental trust. So explainability comes into this too, right? A key regulatory thing.
Definitely. A key regulatory requirement for securing AI systems is ensuring AI decision-making is explainable and auditable.
Makes sense. Connects back to compliance.
It does, but it's also about internal needs and the human impact. People affected by AI decisions deserve to know why.
Right. So let's take job applications again. What's the main purpose of making that AI explainable?
The primary purpose of ensuring the explainability of an AI system in that scenario, like screening job applications, is to promote transparency in hiring decisions.
So the hiring manager understands.
Exactly. It ensures clarity for hiring managers so they can understand the selection criteria the AI used. It demystifies the process.
Okay, transparency is the goal. How do we actually improve it, make it more practical, more auditable?
The best way to improve transparency and auditability of an AI system's outputs, you need to implement controls aligned to rationale, data, and impact.
Meaning
You provide clear, structured explanations for the AI's decisions. You make them traceable, auditable, understandable, like a detailed receipt for every decision.
I like that analogy. A receipt for decisions. Okay, let's zoom out. Global companies. AI regulations are different everywhere. How does a big multinational enterprise keep things legal and ethical across all those borders? Sounds like a nightmare.
It can be a regulatory minefield for sure. But the bidden approach is to map applicable regional and international regulations to internal governance policies based on geographical presence.
So you tailor it.
You have to. You can't just pause deployment and wait for perfect global alignment. That's just not practical. You need proactive, localized mapping of your policies to the relevant rules.
Okay, that makes sense. Proactive mapping. Now, wrapping up this governance section, accountability. How does a formal framework help ensure accountability and ethical oversight across lots of different AI projects in a big company?
A formal governance framework for AI used best ensures accountability and ethical oversight because it assigns clear roles and responsibilities.
Yeah, the who does what.
Exactly. Who makes the decisions? Who manages the policies? Who oversees everything? Having that clarity is what promotes responsible and ethical AI use across the board.
Got it. And one more on governance, especially for those highly regulated organizations, banks, healthcare, etc. How do they best align their AI projects with business goals and ethical standards?
For those organizations, implementing an AI steering committee is the best way.
A committee.
Yeah, because it brings together all the key stakeholders. The people accountable for making sure AI projects hit business targets and meet all those complex regulatory and ethical requirements. It centralizes things, provides that unified vision.
Okay, a steering committee makes a lot of sense for that kind of strategic alignment and oversight. So governance is crucial, setting the stage. But AI runs on data, right? That's its lifeblood.
Absolutely.
Let's shift now to the data itself, the whole AI data lifecycle security management. How critical is that?
It's fundamental. You can't talk about AI without talking about data security and management.
So within an AI framework, what's the most critical component to keep the whole system secure?
Without a doubt, it's secure data handling and model integrity verification.
Why those two?
Because that's how you prevent bad outputs, biased, harmful stuff that could come from tampered data or a compromised model. Your model could be brilliant, but if the data is garbage or the model gets messed with, it's a huge security risk.
Right, garbage in, garbage out, or worse. Now, things change so fast, especially with Gen AI. Why is it so vital to keep reviewing and updating your generative AI policies? Can't you just set them once?
Oh, definitely not. You can't set it and forget it. The most important reason to review and update generative AI policies is precisely because the regulatory and technological environments evolve so rapidly.
Things change constantly.
Constantly. Laws change, new threats pop up, new capabilities emerge. Your policies have to stay relevant to avoid compliance gaps or, employees using the tech in ways you didn't intend.
Okay, keeping policies fresh is key. Now, cloud deployment. Let's say you're using an AI chatbot with ARGA that's retrieval augmented generation, right?
That's right. ARGA helps the AI pull specific verified info before answering, improves accuracy hugely.
Gotcha. So when you deploy something like that in the cloud, which service model, IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, gives you the most control over your data and models?
Infrastructure as a service, or IaaS, gives the most control.
Why?
Because with IaaS, you're managing the underlying infrastructure, the virtual servers, the storage, the networks. That gives you much more granular control over where your data lives, how the model operates, and, crucially, how you implement your security.
More control, more responsibility, but more security potential. Makes sense. Okay, build versus buy. A company needs an AI recommendation engine. What's the absolute most important factor when deciding whether to build it in-house or buy one off the shelf?
The most important factor is strategic alignment with business needs.
More important than cost or features?
In the long run, yes. Does building it ourselves give us a unique competitive advantage? Does buying it get us to market faster in a way that aligns with our goals? That strategic fit is critical for long-term viability. The tech has to serve the business strategy.
Good point. Strategy first. Now back to employees using these tools. Say you roll out a new Gen AI assistant. What's the very first action you should take to make sure people use it responsibly?
The first action is provide targeted training, including an acceptable use policy, AUP.
Training and rules up front.
Absolutely, it's foundational.
Yeah.
Employees need to understand what they can do, what they can't do, how to handle sensitive data, what the expectations are. It cuts down misuse, prevents leaks, gets everyone on the same page from day one.
Right. Avoid that Wild West scenario. Okay, bias again. We talked about detection, but what type of bias lives across the entire AI lifecycle in the data, the company practices, the whole process? You mentioned it's bigger than just the data.
Right. That pervasive type is systemic bias. It's embedded throughout the system.
How so?
It's in the data sets, sure, but also in organizational practices, processes.
Yeah.
Everything from how data was historically collected to who decides what problems AI should solve. It reflects societal biases, historical inequities. It's not just a glitch in the code. It's often a reflection of the world the AI learned from.
Wow. That's deep. Systemic bias. So, what's the best way to actually reduce that algorithmic bias and discrimination once it's potentially baked in?
Well, while ongoing monitoring is crucial, ensuring audits are conducted on decision tools best helps to reduce algorithmic bias and discrimination.
Audits of the tools themselves.
Yes, audits systematically examine the outputs and decisions of the AI. They help you spot if the tool is making fair calls in practice, even if the input data looked clean. It helps uncover those systemic issues that might be harder to see otherwise.
Got it. Audits are key. Now, you have policies like an AUP. How do you actually enforce them effectively? What's the best control to make sure people follow the rules?
Policies need teeth, right? The most effective control is clearly defined enforcement processes. That means investigation protocols, disciplinary actions.
Real consequences.
Exactly. That's what gives the policies credibility. People need to know the rules matter and will be enforced.
Makes sense. Okay, starting an AI project, say, detecting financial fraud. What's the absolute first action the organization needs to take?
Before anything else, the first action is identifying the business challenges, stakeholder needs, and solution requirements.
Define the problem first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What exactly are we trying to solve? Who needs this? What does success look like? Without a really well-defined problem and clear requirements, the chances of the AI project actually succeeding are pretty slim.
Right. Don't start with the tech, start with the need. And documented procedures, why are they so important for AI solutions?
Documented AI-specific procedures best ensure consistency, reduce error rates, and promote trust in model behavior.
Consistency and trust.
Yeah. Everyone follows the same steps, which minimizes mistakes. And when you can show clear procedures, it helps build confidence both internally and externally that the AI is being managed properly.
Okay, back to those acceptable use policies for Gen AI. What's the single most important component to include in one?
The most important component to include in a Gen AI AUP is specifying categories of permitted and restricted AI use cases.
Clear boundaries.
Very clear boundaries. What's okay to use it for, what's absolutely off limits. These restrictions depend on the context, data sensitivity, potential risks, company policy. But defining those use cases is paramount. Got it. Define the sandbox. What about data retention? Managing the AI data lifecycle is keeping old training data important.
Yes. Creating retention policies for model training data is a key factor in AI data lifecycle management.
Why? Don't you want to get rid of old data?
You need to store it for the appropriate duration. For legal reasons, for compliance, sometimes for retraining or auditing. But you don't want to keep it forever either, because that increases security risks. So clear retention policies are crucial to strike that balance.
Okay, a balance between need and risk and privacy in AI solutions. What's a key consideration when setting up procedures for data privacy?
A really key consideration is ensuring informed consent and maintaining data confidentiality.
Consent and secrecy.
Pretty much. You have to uphold people's privacy rights, meet regulatory standards like GDPR. That means being transparent about data use, getting proper consent, and keeping that data secure and confidential throughout its life cycle. Absolutely critical. Finally, for this section, launching a responsible AI program, an RAI program. What's the most effective first action to get that off the ground successfully?
The most effective first action is establishing leadership support to set the tone for responsible, ethical AI use.
Top-down buy-in.
Absolutely. You need active support from the top. Leaders championing ethical values, building trust, pushing for adoption across the whole enterprise. Without that leadership backing, these programs often struggle to gain traction.
That makes perfect sense. Leadership sets the stage. Okay, let's shift gears again. Now we're diving into AI risk management assessment threats response. Thinking about the data lifecycle again, what's most important for ensuring compliance with beta regulations?
In the AI data lifecycle, defining data retention and disposal policies is most important for ensuring compliance.
Retention and disposal.
Yes, it ensures data is only stored as long as necessary for legal or business needs and then securely disposed of. This minimizes the risk of keeping data too long, which is often a compliance violation, and reduces the attack surface.
Okay. And when you move training data, especially personal data, to long-term storage, what best ensures its security?
Data encryption best ensures the security of training data in that scenario.
Encryption.
Yep. Encrypting it at rest protects that sensitive information from unauthorized access, even if the storage itself is somehow breached. It's a fundamental security control.
Got it. What about sharing data? Say you have a loan data set and need to share it with a third-party vendor. What's the primary reason for anonymizing it first?
The primary reason for anonymizing it is ensuring compliance with regulations, like GDPR or CCPA.
Privacy rules.
Exactly. Anonymization removes the ability to link data back to specific individuals, protecting their privacy and meeting those legal requirements.
Makes sense. Now, categorizing AI models for risk. A bank uses lots of AI models. What's the best approach for them to categorize these models for effective risk management?
The best approach is based on their potential business impact and risk level.
Impact and risk.
Right. A model used for marketing might have lower risk than one used for credit scoring or fraud detection. Categorizing them this way lets the institution tailor security controls and oversight appropriately more rigor for higher risk models.
Smart. Tailor the effort. Okay, decommissioning, getting rid of old AI systems. What security vulnerability can actually stick around even after a system is fully shut down?
That's a sneaky one. Residual model artifacts can persist.
Leftover bits?
Yeah. Things like model files, configurations, maybe bits of data left in backups, logs, or temporary files. If those aren't properly sanitized, they could potentially be found and exploited later.
Huh. Need thorough cleanup. What about open source components? Lots of AI systems use them. What's the very first step in managing the security risk that comes with them?
The first step is to create and maintain an accurate software bill of materials, an FBOM.
An SBOM, like an ingredients list.
Exactly like an ingredients list for your software. It tells you all the components, including open source ones, their versions, licenses. It's crucial for identifying known vulnerabilities and managing supply chain risks. You can't secure what you don't know you have.
Right. You need that inventory. Data classification in AI. What's the primary consideration when implementing it?
The primary consideration is the classification levels themselves. Things like public, internal, confidential, restricted.
The sensitivity labels.
Precisely. Those levels form the foundation for how data is handled, who can access it, and what security controls are applied. Everything else flows from establishing those clear classification levels.
Got it. Levels first. What about managing data you get from external sources for your AI model? What's most important there?
Data provenance and regulatory compliance are most important.
Where did it come from and is it legal?
Basically, yes. You need to know the data's origin, provenance, to trust its quality and understand potential biases. And you absolutely have to ensure using that data complies with all relevant privacy and usage regulations.
Makes sense. Back to decommissioning for a second. What's the most significant security vulnerability during that process? You mentioned residual artifacts, but what's the big one?
The most significant is retaining active service accounts and application programming interface API keys associated with the decommissioned model artifact.
Who's leaving the keys in the door?
Exactly. Those active credentials create persistent security gaps that attackers could potentially exploit to gain access, even after the main system is supposedly offline.
Yikes. Gotta revoke those keys. How does data quality impact AI models?
Hugely. Simply put, high-quality data ensures better accuracy and reduces the need for frequent retraining.
And bad data.
Poor data quality leads to incorrect predictions, biased outcomes, and models that just don't perform well. It undermines the whole point of using AI.
Garbage in, garbage out again. During the data collection phase of the AI lifecycle, what's a primary concern?
Privacy and consent violations are a primary concern.
Getting data improperly.
Right. Collecting data without proper consent, or in ways that violate privacy regulations, can lead to major legal and ethical problems down the line. It has to be done right from the start.
Absolutely. How can organizations get better visibility into where their AI training data actually came from? That provenance piece.
The best approach is implementing a centralized data catalog with automated lineage tracking capabilities.
A catalog that tracks history.
Yeah. It provides a central place to see what data you have, where it originated, how it's been transformed. This enhances governance and makes auditing much easier, especially in real time.
Okay, data catalog with lineage. Now, classifying data for AI applications, what's the very first thing you should do?
The first thing to be done is to develop an enterprise data inventory.
An inventory before classifying.
Yes. You need to know what data you actually have across the organization before you can start classifying it. An inventory helps users understand what's available, where it is, and gives you a starting point for assessing sensitivity.
Makes sense. Know what you have first. What about the integrity of AI-generated content? Can we always trust it?
That's a huge issue. The reality is, AI tools cannot guarantee the integrity of data.
They can be wrong or make things up.
Both. They can hallucinate, produce plausible but incorrect information, or even subtly manipulated content. You simply can't trust AI-generated information without independent verification, especially for critical tasks.
Verification is key. Once an AI asset is deployed, what's the best practice for managing it effectively?
Implementing version control and access logs is the best practice.
Tracking changes and who did what.
Exactly. Version control helps manage updates and rollback if needed. Access logs provide traceability, show who accessed the model and when, which is vital for security, governance, and troubleshooting.
Good controls. And how do you get visibility over all AI assets across different departments in a large organization?
The best way is to integrate AI tools, models, and data into an existing inventory system.
Use what you've got.
Preferably, yes. Adding AI assets to your existing IT asset management or inventory system enables centralized tracking, oversight, and risk management. It avoids creating separate silos just for AI.
Smart. Okay, last one for this section. Classifying AI training data. What's the most effective method?
The most effective method is using sensitivity labels based on data criticality.
Back to those classification levels.
Right. Labeling data based on how critical or sensitive it is ensures it gets the right level of protection and handling, aligning with security policies and compliance requirements. It directs your security efforts appropriately.
Excellent. Criticality drives the classification. Okay, let's move into advanced AI security and incident response. This is where things get even more dynamic. What's the most critical first step for a successful AI implementation, thinking about security from the start?
We touched on this, but it bears repeating. Having a well-defined problem is the most critical first step.
Still number one.
Still number one. From a security perspective, too. If you don't understand the problem and the context, you can't possibly design the right security controls or anticipate the relevant threats. Everything flows from understanding the goal.
Right. Context is everything. How can organizations best align their AI security strategy with all those changing regulations?
Conducting regular audits and compliance assessments best assists in this.
Regular checkups.
Exactly. These practices help identify gaps between your strategy and current requirements, maintain accountability, and ensure you adapt as standards evolve. It's a continuous process.
Makes sense. We talked about accountability in AI decisions. What's the best way to ensure it?
The best way is implementing transparent documentation and audit trails of model decisions.
Logs and records again.
Yep. Traceability is key.
Yeah.
Being able to see exactly how a decision was made, what data was used, that's fundamental for accountability and for troubleshooting when things go wrong.
And trustworthiness, especially for critical AI like in healthcare. What's a key requirement?
A key requirement for an AI system to be considered trustworthy, especially in sensitive areas, is human oversight.
The human in the loop.
Always, particularly when the stakes are high. It ensures ethical considerations, validation of results, and builds confidence. You need that human judgment.
Agreed. How do you best ensure security is baked in from the very beginning of the AI development lifecycle?
By incorporating security requirements during the planning and design phases. That's the best way.
Shift left again?
Shift left. Address security up front. It's far more effective and cheaper than trying to patch vulnerabilities discovered later in the process. Build it in, don't bolt it on.
Makes sense. Okay, a specific technical question. What type of AI model is generally considered best for cybersecurity tasks like detecting complex cyber attacks?
For detecting attacks involving complex, nonlinear relationships, random forest models are often considered best.
Random forest.
Yeah, they're a type of ensemble learning method.
Mm-hmm.
They're robust, handle large data sets well, and are good at identifying intricate patterns that might indicate an attack.
Interesting. Now, large language models, LLMs.
Yeah.
How do you effectively track and improve an LLM's security posture? What's the first step?
The first step is to define key performance indicators,
Mhm.
KPIs, and key risk indicators, KAI, specific to the LLM.
Measure what matters.
Exactly. You need specific metrics to track things like vulnerability detection rates, response times to prompt injection attempts, bias drift, etc. These KPIs and KIIs are foundational for continuous monitoring and improvement.
Got it. Metrics first. What about feedback loops in AI? Why is business feedback so important?
Business feedback primarily ensures AI outcomes align with organizational goals in a dynamic environment.
Keep it relevant to the business.
Precisely. The business environment changes, goals shift. Feedback from stakeholders helps optimize the models for actual business value, ensure they remain compliant, and improve operational efficiency. It keeps the AI grounded in reality.
Good point. How do you best measure the security posture of an organization's AI deployments? What's a good indicator?
Measuring the mean time to detect and respond to adversarial attacks, MTTD, MTTR, is the best approach to reveal the security posture related to active threats.
How fast can you spot and stop an attack?
Essentially, yes. This metric directly addresses the effectiveness of your detection and response capabilities when facing real-world AI-specific attacks. Lower times generally mean a better posture against those threats.
Makes sense. And evaluating the overall effectiveness of the AI security posture over time. What's the best method?
Key performance indicators, KPIs, tailored to AI security objectives provide the best method.
Those specific KPIs again.
Right. Things like reduction in successful attacks, compliance rates, time to patch vulnerabilities. They offer measurable, continuous indicators of how well your security controls and strategies are actually working over the long haul.
Continuous measurement. Okay. Risk assessments and continuity planning for AI. What's most critical for keeping those strategies up to date against potential misuse and breaches?
Frequent evaluation of AI security gaps and updating response plans is most critical.
Constant vigilance.
You got it. The threat landscape changes rapidly. Regular assessments, identifying new vulnerabilities, and refining your response and continuity plans accordingly helps you stay ahead of emerging threats and ensures you're prepared.
Excellent. Preparedness is key. Now let's talk about AI specifically in business continuity and incident response. How does AI fit into resilience and recovery plans?
It's becoming increasingly critical. The most appropriate action to ensure AI system resilience during a major disruption is integrating AI models, data, and infrastructure into continuity strategies.
Plan for the AI too.
Absolutely. If critical business processes rely on AI, your BCPDR plans must account for restoring those AI systems promptly. They can't be an afterthought.
Right. How can AI be used most effectively within an incident response strategy? Should it just take over?
Full automation is risky. The most effective use of AI in an incident response strategy is for AI to support human analysts.
Augmenting the humans.
Exactly. AI can rapidly analyze vast amounts of data, identify patterns, suggest actions, provide those data-driven insights. But humans maintain oversight, make the critical decisions, and handle the nuanced situations AI might miss. It's a collaboration.
Human AI teaming. How do you best measure if an AI solution is actually helping security analysts effectively? What metric shows its value?
Mean time to detect, MTTD, and mean time to respond, MTTR, is the best metric here.
Can beat again?
Yeah. If the AI helps analysts detect threats faster and respond quicker, those times will decrease. It directly measures the productivity gains and effectiveness boost the AI provides to the security team.
Makes sense. What about the skills needed for developing and implementing business continuity plans, BCPs, specifically for AI systems? What's most critical regarding IT staff skills?
Ensuring advanced skill sets for IT staff is most critical.
Advanced skills, like what?
Skills in AM operations, AI security, data recovery for complex models, understanding AI-specific failure modes. Standard IT BCP skills aren't always enough. You need people who understand the unique aspects of keeping AI systems resilient and recoverable after breaches or exploits.
Specialized knowledge. Okay, learning from mistakes. An AI-based intrusion detection system fails to stop an attack. What best helps the business continuity posture for similar incidents in the future?
Using AI tools to perform forensic analysis and retrain detection models best helps.
Using AI to fix AI?
In a way, yes. AI can accelerate the forensic investigation, figuring out what happened. And critically, the insights gained could be used to retrain and improve the detection models, making them better equipped to stop similar attacks next time. It's about continuous improvement.
Cool. Now, an incident happens involving an AI system. What's the absolute first action the incident management team should take?
The first action is activating the incident management team and limiting the activities of the AI system. Containment first.
Contain the damage?
Exactly. Isolate the affected AI, prevent it from potentially causing more harm or spreading an issue. Understanding and analyzing comes next, but initial containment is critical in incident response.
Got it. Let's apply that. An AI-powered credit scoring model gets hit by ransomware. What's the very first action?
Containment again. The first action is to isolate the infected AI system and disconnect it from network storage.
Cut it off.
Immediately. Prevent the ransomware from spreading to other systems or encrypting more data. Isolation is step one before you figure out recovery.
Makes sense. What about preventing misuse in BCPs? For ensuring ethical compliance and preventing misuse of AI during, say, a recovery process, what's most critical to include in the plan?
Developing AI guardrails and monitoring for jailbreak attempts is most critical for that aspect of BCP.
Guardrails and monitoring.
Yeah. Even during recovery, you need controls, guardrails, to prevent the AI from being misused or generating inappropriate content. And you need to monitor for attempts to bypass those controls. jailbreaking, especially if systems are operating in a degraded state.
Okay. How do you figure out how critical an AI asset is to the business, especially if it's not yet in the continuity plans?
You use a business impact analysis, or BIA. That's the process.
BIA for AI.
Yep. The BIA helps you understand how dependent business operations are on that specific AI asset, what the impact of its failure would be. That identifies its criticality and informs how it should be prioritized in continuity planning.
Got it. What's a key requirement for an AI-specific incident response plan, IRP? How should it relate to the main enterprise IRP?
A key requirement is that AI IRPs should supplement enterprise IRPs by providing specific protocols for handling AI failures.
An add-on, not a replacement.
Exactly. It needs to cover AI-specific scenarios, model failure, data poisoning response, bias incidents, and include clear plans for escalation, specific recovery steps for AI components, etc. It tailors the general IRP for AI nuances.
Good distinction. After an AI-driven security system fails in TAC, what's the most effective step to improve future response efforts?
Refining AI detection algorithms using instant data is the most effective step.
Learn from the failure.
Absolutely. Analyze why it failed, what characteristics the attack had, and use that data to tune and improve the AI's detection capabilities. It ensures continuous learning and improvement of the system's effectiveness.
Makes sense. What's the greatest challenge in ensuring AI system continuity after a cyber attack?
The integrity and security of training data presents the greatest challenge.
The data again?
Always the data. If the training data was compromised during the attack, or if you can't trust the data used for recovery, the AI might make faulty decisions even after it's restored. Ensuring data integrity post-incident is incredibly difficult, but crucial.
Huge challenge. And using AI for real-time incident detection. What's the primary challenge there?
The primary challenge is the risk of false positives leading to unnecessary escalations. Alert fatigue.
Too many bogus alerts.
Exactly. AI models can be sensitive and generate alerts for benign activities. Security teams then get overwhelmed investigating false alarms, potentially missing real threats. Tuning the AI for the right balance of sensitivity and accuracy is key.
That balance is tricky. Okay, let's broaden out again to comprehensive AI risk management and security threats. How can you most effectively support data integrity risk management for AI systems on an ongoing basis?
Continuous monitoring and dynamic feedback most effectively supports data integrity risk management.
Monitor and feedback.
Yeah, you need to constantly monitor data inputs and model outputs for anomalies or signs of degradation. And you need feedback loops to quickly address issues as they emerge. Data integrity isn't a one-time check. It requires ongoing vigilance.
Okay. Treating AI risks to ensure you meet regulations, what's the best AI risk treatment option for that?
Setting adjustable AI risk limits is the best option to ensure conformity over time.
Adjustable limits.
Right. Regulations change, the business context changes. Having risk limits or thresholds that can be reviewed and adjusted ensures your risk treatments remain effective and aligned with current compliance requirements. Static limits can quickly become outdated.
Flexibility is key. Integrating AI security risk into existing BCDR planning. What's the very first thing an organization should do?
The first thing is identifying critical AI systems and dependencies.
Know what matters most.
Exactly. Before you can plan, you need to know which AI systems are vital to operations and what other systems or data they depend on. This focuses your planning efforts and resources where they're needed most.
Prioritization. What about managing risk for third-party AI systems integrated into your environment? What's the best practice?
The best practice is requiring third-party AI models to comply with internal risk control frameworks.
Make them follow your rules.
Essentially, yes. You need to extend your internal risk standards and controls to cover those third-party systems. This ensures consistent risk management and avoids gaps created by simply trusting the vendor's security posture.
Makes sense. Ensure consistency. How do you ensure the data used for retraining AI models is trustworthy and aligns with policies?
Structured, risk-informed review processes that include a human-in-the-loop, HITL, provide the most effective mechanism.
Human review for retraining data.
Critical, especially for retraining. A human reviews the data, guided by risk assessments to check for quality issues, potential bias, compliance problems before it's fed back into the model. It mitigates a lot of downstream risk.
Got it. Data poisoning, again, we know it's bad. What's the most effective method for managing that risk during training?
Implementing rigorous input validation and data sanitization processes is the most effective method.
Catch it at the door.
Precisely. Validate and clean the data before it ever gets used for training. This is the best way to ensure only trustworthy data influences the model and to catch malicious inputs early.
Okay. AI risks evolve constantly. How does an organization most effectively ensure it can adapt throughout the AI system's lifecycle?
By implementing continuous monitoring combined with periodic risk reassessment and clearly defined thresholds.
Monitor, reassess, have triggers.
That's the loop. Continuous monitoring spots changes in behavior. Periodic reassessments look at the bigger picture and evolving threats. And clear thresholds trigger specific actions when risks cross a certain level. It allows for dynamic, adaptive risk management.
Dynamic response. How do you best integrate AI risk measurements with the organization's overall risk tolerance?
By establishing systematic policies that integrate AI risk measurements with clearly defined organizational risk tolerances.
Connect AI risk to business risk.
Exactly. The policies need to explicitly link AI-specific metrics and risks to the broader enterprise framework of acceptable risk. This ensures effective prioritization and that resources are allocated appropriately based on overall business risk appetite.
Good integration. How do you best support integrating AI risk management into the broader enterprise risk governance program?
Establishing a cross-functional AI-specific risk oversight team best supports this integration.
A dedicated team again.
Often, yes. Or at least a dedicated function. Having a team with representatives from IT, security, legal, business units, data science ensures AI risks are consistently managed, aligned with enterprise standards, and not handled in isolation.
Cross-functional view. Okay, tackling data bias that could lead to unfair customer treatment. What's the best method to manage that risk?
Retraining with balanced data with fairness indicator tracking is the best method.
Fix the data, track the fairness.
Right. You actively work to balance the data set to remove the source of bias. And critically, you implement metrics fairness indicators to continuously track whether the model is exhibiting unfair outcomes. It's an active management process.
Makes sense. But what if, after all that, some bias still remains? What's the best course of action to ensure an acceptable level of risk?
If residual bias persists, the best course of action is documenting residual bias impacts and informing stakeholders of remaining risk.
Be transparent about the leftovers.
Exactly. You acknowledge the remaining bias, document its potential impact, and communicate that clearly to decision makers and potentially affected parties. Then, based on risk tolerance, you decide if it's acceptable or if more mitigation is needed. Hiding it isn't an option.
Transparency is key. In the early stages of an AI impact assessment, what's the most critical thing to identify?
Identifying the intended uses for which the system is designed and tested is most critical early on.
What's it supposed to do?
Precisely. Understanding the intended purpose and scope is foundational. All subsequent risk analysis, bias assessment, and testing flows from that clear definition of intended use.
Got it. Feature engineering, selecting the data points for the model. How does that relate to continuity strategies and risk assessments? What's most critical there?
In that context, feature selection is most critical.
Choosing the right inputs.
Yes. Good feature selection helps identify the most relevant data inputs, reduces the model's complexity, and can prevent overfitting. This makes the model more robust and predictable, which is important for risk assessment and ensuring it behaves as expected during continuity events.
Interesting link. What about model selection risk? Choosing the wrong type of AI model for a critical job. How do you minimize that risk?
Conducting a comprehensive evaluation of multiple models best minimizes model selection risk.
Try before you buy, essentially.
Sort of. Evaluate several potential model types against your specific requirements, data, and risk tolerance. Compare their performance, explainability, robustness. This ensures a well-informed choice rather than just picking the first or most familiar model.
Due diligence. Let's revisit data poisoning treatment. For a predictive credit approval system, what's the most effective treatment to mitigate that risk?
Using robust data validation before model training is the most effective treatment.
Validation up front again.
Yes. Especially for something like credit approval, where manipulated labels could be injected. Catching those anomalies or manipulated data points before they train the model is the most direct way to mitigate poisoning at the source.
Makes sense. How do you sustain AI trustworthiness over time? Mitigate emerging risks while keeping assurance levels high.
The best approach is establishing continuous output verification aligned with adaptive risk thresholds.
Keep checking the output, adjust as needed.
Right. Continuously verify the AI's outputs against expected results or ground truth. Combine this with risk thresholds that adapt to changing conditions. This provides real-time assurance and helps prevent unexpected or uncontrolled behavior as the environment evolves.
Adaptive verification.
Okay.
The hospital's AI solution violates privacy regulations. What's the most appropriate response?
Conducting root cause analysis followed by an AI risk reassessment is the most appropriate response.
Find out why, then reassess.
Exactly. First, understand why the violation occurred, the root cause. Was it a technical flaw, a process issue, bad data? Then, use that understanding to perform a thorough reassessment of the AI's risks and update controls accordingly. It's fundamental to effective response.
Learn and adapt. How do you maintain organizational accountability for AI risk management? What's the most effective practice?
Defining clear roles and responsibilities for mapping, measuring, and managing AI risk is the most effective practice.
Clear ownership.
Absolutely. Who is responsible for identifying risks? Who
As-
measures them?
Right.
Who implements controls? Who makes decisions? Clarity on roles ensures accountability, transparency, and responsiveness across the entire AI lifecycle.
Got it. How do you best ensure AI systems stay within defined risk tolerance threshold over time, given how things change?
Implementing continuous monitoring of AI system behavior and performance with dynamic adjustment of risk treatments best ensures this.
Monitor and adjust treatments dynamically.
Yes. Constant monitoring flags deviations. Dynamic adjustments mean you can tweak controls or interventions as needed to bring the system back within acceptable risk levels rather than waiting for a major review cycle. Keeps it aligned.
Makes sense. What's most likely to trigger an update to the risk thresholds themselves in an AI risk management system?
Regulatory changes introducing new AI compliance criteria are most likely to necessitate updating risk thresholds.
New rules change the game.
Often, yes. New laws or regulations frequently shift the risk landscape, imposing stricter requirements or highlighting new areas of concern. Organizations have to adjust their risk tolerances and thresholds accordingly.
Right. Measuring data protection controls for AI systems, what's the best metric to show effectiveness?
Percentage reduction in unauthorized data access incidents is the best metric.
Fewer breaches.
Directly related to the goal. It's a clear, measurable indicator of whether your data protection controls are actually preventing unauthorized access to the sensitive data used or generated by AI systems.
Clear metric. What about ensuring oversight of AI system quality and safety? What's the best approach?
Human-led validation of data sources and input integrity is best for direct oversight of quality and safety inputs.
Human validation of the inputs.
Yes. While automated checks are important, having humans validate the quality, relevance, and integrity of the data sources and inputs directly influences the safety and reliability of the AI system's outputs. It's a critical control point.
Got it. Last one for this section. Protecting sensitive company info when using third-party AI tools, especially in disaster recovery plans, DRPs. What's the most important consideration?
Ensuring strict data management controls when exposing sensitive organizational data to AI tools is the most important consideration.
Control the data flow to the third party.
Absolutely. How is data shared? How is it protected by the vendor? What happens in a disaster scenario? Strict controls over data exposure, usage rights, and security requirements within the DRP are crucial to mitigate privacy and security risks with third-party AI.
Crucial controls. Okay, final section. AI threat and vulnerability management. Let's get specific on threats. What's the best method to find unknown vulnerabilities in a newly deployed AI web app?
Dynamic Application Security Testing, or DAST, is the best method for uncovering unknown vulnerabilities in that scenario.
DAST? How does it work?
DAST analyzes the application while it's running, from the outside, like an attacker would. It probes for vulnerabilities like injection flaws, configuration errors, etc., without needing access to the source code. Great for finding those unexpected issues post-deployment.
Okay, testing the running app. How do you best ensure an AI solution stays resilient to evolving threats after deployment, integrating this into development?
By integrating AI-specific threat modeling, adversarial testing, and continuous model behavior monitoring into the CI/CD pipeline.
Build it into the deployment pipeline.
Exactly. Embed threat modeling early, continuously run adversarial tests to find weaknesses, and monitor the model's behavior in production. Building these security checks into the automated pipeline ensures resilience is maintained as the system and threats evolve.
Makes sense. What about accessing a chatbot's long-term memory? What's the most effective architecture control to reduce the risk of unauthorized access?
Implementing strong access control and encryption mechanisms is the most effective architectural control.
Basic but essential.
Foundational. Proper access controls ensure only authorized users or processes can access the memory, and encryption protects the data itself if access controls fail. You need both.
Got it. Prompt injection attacks on LLMs again. What best mitigates these in chat applications?
Deploying input validation and sanitization mechanisms before processing user queries best mitigates prompt injection.
Clean the input first.
Right. Check the user's input for malicious patterns or instructions before it even reaches the LLM. It's that crucial first line of defense to filter out attempts to manipulate the model.
Okay. Data poisoning countermeasures. What's the most effective countermeasure against these attacks?
Removing anomalous data that may have been altered by an adversary is the most effective countermeasure once poisoning is suspected or detected during training.
Find and remove the bad data.
Yes. Identify data points that look suspicious or statistically out of place compared to the rest of the data set, as these might be the poison samples. Removing them mitigates the attack's impact on the final model.
Makes sense. How do you ensure your AI vulnerability management efforts actually align with real business risk, not just chasing every minor flaw?
By building a risk-based AI vulnerability management framework.
Prioritize based on risk.
Exactly. The framework should help you assess vulnerabilities based on their potential impact on the business, the system's criticality, and the exploitability. This lets you prioritize remediation efforts on the threats that matter most, optimizing resources.
Smart prioritization. Fine-tuning LLMs can sometimes degrade their security. What's most effective for addressing that after deployment?
Validating post-tuning and layering runtime protections is most effective.
Check after tuning, add runtime guards.
Right. First, validate the fine-tuned model thoroughly for any new security issues or regressions. Then implement runtime protections like output moderation, enhanced input sanitization, or specific guardrails to catch issues that emerge during operation. It's a multi-layered approach.
Okay. Threat modeling for AI systems. What's the very first step in creating one?
The first step is identifying system components, data flows, and trust boundaries.
Map out the system.
Precisely. You need to understand the architecture. What are the different parts? How does data move between them? Where do interactions cross lines of trust? Example, user input, external APIs. This mapping helps you identify potential attack surfaces and vulnerabilities.
Understand the landscape first. Sophisticated data breach, long-term access, data exfiltration from weird places. What kind of threat actor is most likely responsible?
An advanced persistent threat, or APT, is most likely responsible for that kind of sophisticated long-term attack. Yeah. These are typically well-funded, often state-sponsored groups known for targeted, stealthy, and persistent attacks aimed at espionage or significant disruption. That pattern fits their MO.
Got it. Deep learning and neural networks. What's the most significant risk IT pros need to worry about with these?
The lack of transparency in a model's decision-making process is the most significant risk. The black box problem.
A black box. Why is that such a risk?
Because if you don't understand how the model reaches a decision, it's incredibly difficult to detect if it's been subtly compromised by malicious inputs, biased training data, or if it's just making errors. This opacity hinders debugging, security analysis, and trust.
Makes sense. What about attacks where someone manipulates the input data to fool an AI model without changing the model itself, like tricking a fraud detector? What's that called?
That best describes evasion attacks.
Evasion.
Yep. The attacker crafts inputs that are specifically designed to be misclassified by the model, evading detection. It's a common technique to bypass AI systems like spam filters or malware detectors.
Got it. How can you detect data poisoning early? What's most effective?
A combination of tracing data provenance and using statistical anomaly detection is most effective.
Track the source and look for weirdness.
Right. Provenance helps ensure data integrity from the source. Anomaly detection automatically flags data points or patterns that deviate significantly from the norm, which could indicate manipulation or poisoning attempts. Together, they provide strong early warnings.
Good combo.
Yep.
What about using generative AI tools internally? Maybe there's something that could generate passwords, like a hypothetical pass GPT. What's a possible negative outcome?
A very possible outcome is access exploits and security breaches.
How so?
Without strict guardrails, such a tool could potentially be misused to generate valid credentials, test system weaknesses, or even simulate attacks, significantly increasing the risk of unauthorized access or internal security incidents. Powerful tools need careful control.
Definitely need those controls. There are different types of model poisoning. What best describes an attack where someone alters data online between when it's collected and when it's used for training?
That scenario best describes split view poisoning.
Split view poisoning.
Yeah. The attacker manipulates the data source after collection, but before training, so the model trains on a compromised version of reality. It's a specific type of poisoning targeting the data pipeline.
Tricky. How do you most effectively mitigate security risk in LLM-powered assistance against malicious user inputs trying things like prompt injection?
Implementing prompt filtering and structured input validation is the most effective strategy.
Filter and validate the prompts.
Yes. Analyze and clean the user's prompts before they hit the LLM core. Filter out known malicious patterns. Structure the input to limit manipulation potential. It's about sanitizing the input stream robustly.
Okay. Structuring the threat modeling process itself for AI, what's the most effective way to do it comprehensively?
Applying a structured framework is most effective. Frameworks like Stride, MITRE Atlas, or the OWASP AI Exchange guide you through steps like system component identification, attack surface analysis, threat enumeration, and mitigation prioritization.
Use a methodology.
Exactly. A framework ensures you cover all the bases systematically, rather than just brainstorming threats randomly. It leads to more comprehensive risk identification and better mitigation planning.
Makes sense. What's the primary benefit of integrating a threat intelligence feed with an AI-based threat detection system?
The primary benefit is to enhance the detection accuracy of known and emerging threats.
Keep the AI up to date on threats.
Precisely. Threat intelligence provides timely information about new attack techniques, indicators of compromise, and threat actor tactics. Feeding this into the AI system helps it recognize the latest threats more accurately and reduces false negatives.
Okay. Vulnerability testing for LLM chatbots, what's needed for it to be truly effective and comprehensive?
Effective vulnerability testing must assess the full AI tech stack. It's not just the model.
The whole stack again.
Yes. Model-level risks like hallucination and bias, implementation flaws like guardrail bypasses, system integration issues like insecure APIs, and runtime behavior like prompt chaining manipulation. You need to test all layers for a true picture of vulnerability.
Holistic testing. And just to be crystal clear, what best describes a prompt injection attack itself?
Prompt injection best describes an adversarial attack that relies on misleading inputs crafted to manipulate AI-generated responses to induce unintended actions or leak sensitive data.
Tricking the AI with bad prompts.
That's the core of it, using the input prompt itself as the attack vector.
Got it. Finally, how do you most effectively identify potential adversarial threats in AI systems in general?
By testing the robustness of AI models against manipulated inputs. Adversarial testing.
Actively try to fool it.
Yes. Systematically generating inputs designed to cause the model to fail or misclassify. This type of testing is essential for finding weaknesses that attackers could exploit with manipulated data. It directly probes for adversarial vulnerabilities.
Okay, that covers a huge amount on threats and vulnerabilities. Let's pivot one last time to AI, vendor, and supply chain management managing risks with partners. Integrating a vendor's AI for recruitment, how do you best ensure security requirements are met?
Through collaborative evaluations involving experts from both sides.
Work together.
Yes,
Yeah.
your security AI teams and the vendor's team working together to review, test, and validate that the system meets requirements, especially around things like bias detection and data handling, shared responsibility, and deep vetting.
Makes sense. Deploying a third-party fraud detection model, how do you best ensure its integrity?
The best approach is conducting adversarial testing to assess how the model responds to manipulated inputs.
Test it against attacks yourself.
Right. Don't just trust the vendor's claims. Actively test the model's resilience against deceptive data to verify its integrity and performance under potential attack conditions.
Validate, don't just trust. Using a third-party AI assistant that queries sensitive emails. What's the best measure to prevent unauthorized data access?
Enforcing role-based access control, RBAC, is the best measure.
RBAC again.
Yes. The AI assistance responses must be constrained by the user's access privileges. RBAC ensures employees only get information via the AI that they are already authorized to see directly.
Essential control. What about ensuring the integrity of the AI supply chain itself? The third-party components and data sets used, what's the best way?
Auditing third-party components emphasizes proactive verification, which is critical.
Audit before integrating.
Exactly. You need to proactively verify the authenticity, security, and licensing of any external components or data sets before they become part of your AI system. Know what you're building with.
Good practice.
Yeah.
Integrating a cloud AI for patient diagnosis recommendations in healthcare. What security measure is most important to prioritize before integration?
Implementing strong encryption of patient data at rest and in transit is most important.
Encryption above all for patient data.
Absolutely. Given the sensitivity of health information and strict regulations like IPR, robust encryption is non-negotiable to protect patient data throughout the system.
Makes perfect sense. Contractual safeguards with vendors. What's the best safeguard to prevent privacy violations like a vendor using your customer data to retrain their models without permission?
A strict data usage clause that prohibits vendor use of customer data for AI model retraining without explicit prior approval is the best contractual safeguard.
Spell it out in the contract.
Clearly and explicitly. This ensures GDPR compliance and prevents unauthorized secondary use of your sensitive data, protecting customer privacy and your intellectual property.
Critical clause. How do you effectively monitor risk across the AI supply chain after the initial procurement?
Reassessing the supplier's security posture during the contract lifecycle is the most effective measure.
Ongoing checks.
Yes. Don't just assess them once at the beginning. Periodically reassess their security practices, compliance status, and any changes in their services throughout the duration of the contract. Risk isn't static.
Good point. How do you best ensure a vendor meets your security requirements before you integrate their AI solution?
By conducting a third-party risk assessment, TPRA.
A formal assessment.
Right. A structured TPRA specifically evaluates the vendor's security controls, data handling practices, compliance posture, and identifies potential risks before you sign the contract or integrate their solution. It's essential due diligence.
Makes sense. Mitigating copyright risks from vendor GenAI tools. What's the best contractual measure?
Vendor-provided IP indemnification is the best contractual measure.
Make the vendor liable.
Exactly. The indemnification clause shifts the financial and legal risk of copyright infringement claims arising from the AI's outputs onto the vendor who provided the tool. It protects your organization significantly.
Important protection. How can you best embed, monitor, and verify AI security requirements when using vendor AI solutions, maybe using tools?
Using software composition analysis, SEA tools, with software bill of materials, SBM generation. Best supports this.
SEA and SVM again?
Yeah. SEA tool to analyze the vendor's software, if possible, or rely on their SBM to identify components, known vulnerabilities, and license issues. It helps verify the security posture of the external components you're relying on.
Good tooling approach. What about third-party plugins used in an AI chatbot platform? How do you most effectively reduce the risk of those plugins causing supply chain attacks?
Restricting plugin use to verified and sandboxed options is the most effective strategy.
Curate and isolate plugin.
Right. Don't allow just any plugin. Only permit plugins that have been vetted for security and run them in a sandbox environment that limits their access and potential impact if they are compromised. Control the ecosystem.
Smart controls. Finally, ongoing monitoring of vendor-based AI solutions. What's the most effective approach?
AI monitoring, which includes metrics tied to model function, such as output bias and anomalies, is the most effective approach.
Monitor the model's actual behavior.
Yes. Beyond basic uptime, you need to monitor if the vendor's model is performing correctly, ethically, and reliably. Tracking metrics like bias drift, output anomalies, and performance against key tasks is critical for ongoing assurance and trustworthiness.
Fantastic. Wow. We have covered an incredible amount of ground today, from the absolute foundations of AI governance and policy.
All the way through data management, security threats, incident response.
And managing those complex third-party vendor relationships. It's a really expansive landscape.
It really is. And what's striking, I think, from everything we've discussed, drawing on these sources, is that managing AI well isn't just about having the smartest tech.
Right. It's more than that.
It's fundamentally about having those robust frameworks, that continuous oversight, and just an unwavering commitment to doing it responsibly and ethically, right from development through deployment and beyond.
Rigor and foresight, as you said earlier.
Exactly. Bringing that structured thinking to this fast-moving field.
So let's leave our listeners with a thought. As AI gets deeper and deeper into, well, everything we do, are we actually building the right foundations now to ensure we can trust it? Or are we maybe just hoping for the best?
That's the big question.
Something to think about. After hearing all this, what aspect of AI governance or risk management struck you as the most challenging? Or maybe the most surprisingly important? What's the one thing that really stood out?